Hi, it's Julie, and welcome to a cooking revolution. And it's been a while with cooking with my friend Linda, but we decided to jump on here right before Thanksgiving and make a soup, a winter vegetable stew or soup. Depends on how much stock you put in. So we were just talking about what vegetables Linda has, and if you would like, the beauty of this soup is you can put whatever vegetables you've got. You know, it's not like, oh, it's a squash soup, so you have to put squash in it. It's just winter vegetables. Or if you have something that's not quite winter, like you said, you had a red pepper, you can put that in too. It'll be perfect. So do you want to just tell me what you've got? And
all right. So I love this part with you. I have this very tiny green cabbage.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
I think that
I have some just a little bit of cauliflower that I can use up.
Perfect.
I have a butternut squash.
Great. So we're not going to use all of that. We'll just use a little bit. I've got some squash too that I actually had cut from something else that I had made. So I have those already.
Nice. I've got this squash.
Okay, that's a red curry squash. Yeah.
Sounds great.
I don't think we're going to use that one in the soup though.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do it, throw it in the oven and make it easier to cut. And a pumpkin.
I have pumpkin.
Do you have any plans for the pumpkin?
No plans.
Delicata squash. Yum.
And check this out, Julie.
Blue Hubbard. Wow. Oh, Mother Hubbard.
There is no lack of food here.
No, she didn't check. Didn't check the root cellar. She just looked in the cupboard. I
have carrots. I have some red pepper, which really needs to be used. I've got some kale.
Okay.
I've got red onion and white onion.
Okay.
Or like yellow onion.
Right.
I have some shallots. And I may even I've got some beets, potatoes. My potatoes are really sweet. I've got two different kinds from my friend Josh. I've got red potatoes that need to be washed. And I've got these cute little purple fingerlings.
Oh, I love those. I love those roasted.
Okay.
I don't want to put them in the soup because it'll just kind of, you won't have the specialness of them.
Okay.
You know, when you have a special vegetable, sometimes you don't want to put it in soup because it just kind of dilutes it, I guess. You know, you want to really highlight that vegetable. So
sweet. Okay.
So like the beets, we're not going to use the beets in the soup because that will just take over the whole soup. So probably use just a couple of potatoes, 2 or 3. Yep. Those are pretty small.
Yep. So use the littlest ones. Use the little ones because those will be just nice cubed, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to put potatoes in mine. I have some potatoes, but I have them. I have the idea that I'm going to have roasted potatoes at some point. So but instead of potatoes, I have this.
What have you got?
Turnip.
Oh, I have a turnip.
Yeah, you can put a turnip in there too.
Yeah, I have to use this turnip, so I'll use that.
Yeah. Soup is also another way, a great way to just kind of use up 1 or 2 vegetables that you've got in the refrigerator. You know, like you've got 1 carrot left or 1 turnip left, and you just 1 carrot, turnip. All right, a pepper. Oh, another pepper. You can use both of them. I'm actually using peppers too. I'm using shishito peppers, which are these little bitty guys, kind of wrinkled, weird looking. And I've chopped up about 6 of them here. And so they're going to go in the soup as well.
I have some leek.
A leek? That's a leek?
And I've got this kale that's getting a little bit yellow, but I think it's okay yet.
Yeah, I think I had another idea for the kale, but your kale looks a little bit, maybe I was thinking of a kale salad, but maybe that kale's not kale
I
salad.
have some lacinato kale, but I don't know how much time we have to cook because.
Yeah. Do you have a set time you need to?
Yeah, I think if we could just kind of, get a dish done and
Okay.
I got another meeting. So this is
Okay.
how it is
Well, what I was
sometimes
going
in
to
life, right?
suggest is that you've got the oven on already.
I have the oven on.
Okay. I was going to suggest that you put one of the whole squash. Did we decide
Okay.
that it was going to be the red curry?
Yeah, or the butternuts. I think the butternut's easy to cut and the red curry not so much. So we're just
Yeah,
gonna
so
stick
put the
this
red curry in, and if you want to put the pumpkin in as well, I don't
in.
know.
Stick it in.
I would put it on a baking sheet because sometimes it starts leaking and then it gets all at the bottom of your oven.
All right. Okay.
So we're only going to put it, it's only going to go in for like 15 minutes, and then you're going to be able to cut it in half.
All right, so we're gonna do the pie pumpkin too, because I'll do something with that as long as we have the oven.
Yeah.
All right, 2 squash going in the oven.
Okay, go ahead and do that. And what I was going to suggest on your delicata squash, because I was thinking about a kale salad, is that you could slice your delicata squash and roast that as well.
Oh, let's do that.
And then you can later, when you're ready to do the kale salad, then you can have the delicata squash ready to go.
So I should just stick this in there.
That you want to cut in half.
Okay.
That one should be pretty easy to cut in half and take the seeds out.
All right.
And then slice it.
I'll do that.
Okay. So, but while we're...
It's not that easy to cut in half, though. It's not.
It's not that easy?
No.
Can
I put it in like this?
Why don't you cut it in half?
Yeah, that wasn't even that easy.
Oh, I forgot your knife challenged.
I know,
okay.
I need better knives.
Now turn it where the flat side is on your cutting board.
Got it.
And cut it in half that way.
I got it.
Yay. Now take the seeds out and you want to slice it. So you've got little half moons.
Okay.
And toss it with some olive oil, put it on another baking sheet and salt and pepper and stick it in the oven. You think that's going to work?
I think that'll work. Because that's going to go in the kale salad, is it?
That'll go in a kale salad that you can do later. And I'll send you the recipe on that because that's really the only thing you need to do.
You're a dear. Thank you.
So, and then once that's in, all that's going to go in, it's going to be in there for like 15 minutes. And then we're going to get started on the soup.
It's in there. I got the timer set.
Great. So
you decide
what onion you want. I think the yellow onion is probably better for this soup.
I think so. And the red can go in the kale. Yeah, red could go in the kale salad, right?
Yeah, the red can go in the kale salad. You want garlic. I'm using 2 cloves. You can use 4 or 6.
Or 6. You read my mind. You're so intuitive.
And then I've got my peppers that I've already chopped. Because these are shishitos, I have them chopped kind of fine. But your red pepper, you can even use the green. Garlic. Yay. Oh, I forgot another thing that I don't have carrots. So, you know what that is?
Parsnip.
Yeah, I've got parsnip. I'm going to put parsnips. I have another one about this size too.
That'll be better.
I already chopped that, and I chopped a turnip already. And I don't have cauliflower, so I'm using broccoli.
Okay.
And if you want to use the kale in the soup or the cabbage, I wouldn't use both.
I'm going to use the kale.
Okay, because that needs to be used first.
It does.
And then the cabbage, there's something that I want to try. I want to make cabbage steaks.
Ooh.
Where you cut them and you cut the cabbage into like a 1-inch slices.
Yeah.
And you roast them in the oven. So I want to try that. So maybe.
Julie, you're reminding me. I just wanted to roast this cabbage, stick it in there with some
Yeah.
oil on it and some foil.
Yeah.
I think I want to do that because
Yeah,
that's so
do that.
good.
Do that. Yeah, don't put it in the soup. I think the kale will be good. That might be kind of a lot of kale for the soup.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna cut out the stems, so we'll see
But
here.
you can you can saute the rest,
Okay.
and that'll be a nice side dish for some other time. So
Nice.
okay, so I'm gonna finish chop my onion, and we'll get going. So you're gonna need like a soup pot. You have it. I see you have that on the stove already.
Yep.
Perfect. And anyway, so are you doing anything special for Thanksgiving?
I bought a turkey breast.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Well, my husband and I couldn't decide. I don't eat meat a whole lot anyway, and
Right.
I certainly don't want to buy a turkey, and I'm not really that fond of turkey. So,
yeah.
To buy a turkey just didn't seem like the thing to do.
Right. If you don't like turkey.
Chicken.
Yeah.
So,
and even chicken doesn't excite you, so.
Well, I like chicken. I just don't really want that. It doesn't sound special or anything.
Yeah.
And it's just my husband and me. So we decided
that's special.
Fish.
Just your husband and you is special.
Yeah, but we're gonna have fish. We have a wonderful dockside fish market. It's on Saturday mornings, and I hardly ever go there because you have to get there early to get the good stuff. So I hardly ever go. And anyway, we've got like a fish warehouse, I guess, and they get a lot of local fish there. So I'm going to go on Wednesday and buy some, steaks or fish, whatever local. I don't know what it's going to be, steak or filet or something. So,
Julie, I'm going to put this delicata in some foil.
Okay.
Not a big fan of cooking in aluminum foil generally, but I don't really have a baking dish that's apparent to me right now, so I'm just going to.
Yeah, you don't have like a Pyrex or glass?
Well, I do.
That would work.
Do I have one that's a Pyrex?
You don't want to use the foil.
I don't really like using foil. My mom used to cook everything with foil, but I've got some glass. I've got an anchor hocking. What's not apparent to me is which ones.
Well, one that it's going to fit in pretty, yeah. What I'm thinking is what you're going to want to do is the baking sheet that you have those 2 whole pumpkins on.
Yep.
To just put some foil underneath them.
Okay.
So your squash on that baking dish.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. So I've got my.
Did you say that I wanted to toss a little bit of olive oil into it to bake?
Yes, and some salt and pepper, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Oh, I forgot to tilt the screen. So let me tilt so you're not just watching me. And then I'm going to do my little pepper. I already cut the top off. And put that in there. Now I'm just going to cut it in half and then get the seeds out. These are not really very spicy. Every now and then you do get one that has some heat to it, but it's rare. But I had like 6 left from last week, and they were starting to look a little bit sad.
Oh.
So I thought, okay, let me get that out, put that in the soup. And yeah, and last week I went to a local food co-op and got parsnips, thinking that I was going to use them, and I never did use them. And then they were starting to look a little bit, wrinkly. So, okay, well, they're going in the soup.
Yep.
And
This is how it's done.
I bought turnips at the farmer's market. So, and let's see what else. And I had gotten the broccoli at the farmer's market. And the greens that I'm using are actually radish greens and the leaves from the broccoli.
Nice.
And the radish greens are a little bit wilty, but that's okay. They're going in soup, so it's not going to matter. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I think I was going to mention this. I didn't mention the squash that I have here. I'm not going to cook this in the oven right now because I'm going to use this on Thanksgiving. This is going to be, I'm going to cut the top off and scoop the seeds out.
Ooh.
And then stuff it with like sauteed onion and I don't know, probably turnips because I've got more turnips.
That sounds wonderful.
Kale and maybe quinoa or millet and stuff it inside and then bake it in the oven. Put the top back on it, you know, the little lid and bake it probably for about 45 minutes to an hour. So I didn't want to do anything with that one. I do have a cabbage, but I don't really have any plans for it, so I don't want to cook it right now.
Got it.
Actually, maybe I do have plans for it. I found a recipe. I think it's an Indian recipe for some kind of a squash curry soup. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Which I've made a squash curry soup before, but I'm trying to, you know, look at other people's recipes and see how they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, you know, to try other people's recipes for me because, you know, maybe I learned something or find a new method or a seasoning combination or.
Yeah.
I made a 4-bean, what is called Three Sisters stew.
Oh yeah.
I followed the recipe it was someone else's recipe, and I followed their cooking process, which it was not my cooking process.
Right.
And so at the end, I usually put salt more in the middle of the process, and they had you salt it at the end. Well, I forgot to salt it at the end, and then you put cornmeal dumplings on top of it and cook it some more. Once I got the cornmeal dumplings on top, I couldn't salt it because that would just put the salt on the dumplings. So I was like, okay, I've got this stew that I need to salt. So anyway, it's funny, you know, when you're not used to doing it a certain way and you change things up, then you don't know what you're doing. So at least for me. Anyway, when you have the onion and the garlic and the peppers chopped,
okay,
you could take it over to the stove. Well, how much other stuff do you have to chop? You've got the potatoes, you've got carrot and cauliflower.
I've got a fair amount here. I've got the pepper chopped. I'm about to do the garlic. And yeah, I got a fair amount of things to cut.
Okay, so then wait just a little bit because I don't want your garlic and onion and peppers to start to burn before you've got your other stuff. So I'm just gonna
saute that stuff.
What?
I'm gonna saute it, Julie.
Yeah, you're gonna have it in your soup pot.
Okay, great.
A little bit of olive oil, 1 to 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna move all this to a bowl and start chopping my other. So, all right.
So I have another question for you.
Okay.
Should I use more than one pepper, or is the one pepper enough? The other one doesn't have to be used.
One that you said needed to be used, I would use that one. And
Okay.
that's probably enough.
Okay. I'm just chopping up my turnip, which is pretty, just kind of pithy at this point. So it's a good thing we're using it.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
little old.
these turnips are actually the salad turnips, and so I don't typically peel them unless they have like brown spots on them. So like this one's not peeled, but if it's just a regular turnip that's got the purple on it, I usually peel those because those peels are typically a little bit tougher.
I love the salad turnips. They're so delightful.
Yeah. Well, this farmer that I buy from every week, he has them every week, and you know, I just don't want turnips every week. But on Saturday, I was like, you know, those turnips are so pretty. I have to buy them. So
they're so good.
Yeah. And you know, when I was chopping, I chopped one of them before we got started, and my husband said, something smells really good. What are you chopping?
Yeah.
This turnip. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because turnip has a kind of a sharp, I don't know, it's hard to describe the smell. It's got a sharp, bitter taste and smell, but he was liking the smell of it. So that's good.
This one clove of garlic was so big, I think I'm just going to use the one.
Okay.
And now, so I've got chopped garlic. It's not minced, it's just chopped kind of coarsely.
Yeah.
And I've got my turnip. And now I'm going to do, should I do an onion or should I do this leek? Was the leek too delicate?
No, I think the leek would be good.
Okay, I'm going to use this leek because it needs to be used.
You could use that instead of onion. You don't.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Great.
Chop, do you?
No, I would like to save the onion anyway for something.
Yeah,
so this is great.
Yeah, use the leek. You've got that ready to use. I chopped that turnip and didn't have the camera tilted down. So now you're gonna.
Now, I have to ask you, and I'm going to rinse this out really well, but how much of this do you usually use? This green part. Would you use all of this?
Yeah, probably.
Sure.
It looked like there was a little piece that looked maybe a little tough.
Yeah, I'm going to take that off.
Cut that part off, but I would use all of that.
Okay.
I mean, I really try to use as much as possible, so.
Great, because I want to use it all.
The only time that I cut any of it off is if it's hard, because if it's hard, it's not gonna, it won't cook. You know, it won't soften. So, and you put it in stock, so.
Right. I'll save that piece for sure.
The bottom of this parsnip is a little bit limp and woody. How can it be limp and woody at the same time?
Yep.
But it is. And
all right, so there's my leek.
Black circle in the middle of this one, so I'm gonna have to. There, I just cut the top off.
All right, so I've got leek, red pepper, turnip, garlic, my potatoes.
Yeah, and keep the leek and the garlic and the pepper separate. You're gonna saute that first.
Okay.
And then the rest will go in after.
Yeah, I kind of thought so. Should I start that? I should probably start that.
I would get a little bit of your vegetables chopped first.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, it's gonna start to burn.
Okay.
So.
All your stuff.
And you can go ahead and put the cauliflower in too. I think that'll be good.
Yeah, I agree. Oh.
So I'm gonna take the leaves off. So see, my broccoli comes with all these leaves on it. These are little bitty tiny broccoli from the farmer's market. So I'm taking the leaves off, and that is going in with my greens at the end. And I just.
Did you hear that, Julie?
What?
Did you hear that?
I heard something.
That was the sound of my oven saying that my 15 minutes are up.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I have a siren going on over here that I hear outside, so.
So with that,
There, I hear that.
take out my squash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The squash.
Okay.
And it should be soft enough to cut.
Where's my hot pad? I think I brought it somewhere else.
You
I have
put
to
it
use a
in the
kitchen towel.
drawer.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the drawer, but it's not.
So there's two things you can do, Linda.
What?
One is you could just cut them in half and just leave it at that and do something with it later. Or you can cut them in half and stick them back in the oven and cook them until they're
Okay.
soft.
We'll see. Okay.
And then the delicata is probably going to take about 20 to 25 minutes to get soft enough. And then you're just going to keep that in the refrigerator ready to go for your kale salad or for whatever.
Okay.
Okay, I think I am set with my vegetables, except for the greens. I'm not going to chop that yet. So what time did you say you have to go? Do you have to go at the top of the hour?
Yeah, like we'll just get it started here and then we'll take pictures. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got carrots I'm doing now. And I only have cauliflower and I can start my stuff now.
The carrots, if you want to just slice them, you could do that. Or
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Because that carrot looks pretty small, so I think slicing is going to be good.
I didn't slice it thin though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, that's okay. You just cook it a little bit longer. You'll cook the vegetables a little bit longer. And if you don't want to put the butternut squash in there, if you just don't feel like you want to take the time to cut it,
yeah,
then you can leave that out.
I think I'm gonna leave it out. I don't really feel like it.
Okay.
I feel like we got a nice assortment of things here, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be really yummy. And do you still have any fresh herbs?
I have some thyme.
Okay.
It's not so fresh, it's dried now, but you know,
that's okay.
nonetheless.
I would recommend using, some of that, maybe, about this much. Do you still have it on stems?
Yep.
Okay, so about this much, I would, and let me put this in. Talking and my oil is getting warm.
I hear you.
And I could smell, I'm like, ooh, I need to get this in there. The oil's warm. Okay.
How come we didn't use the cabbage?
You said you were gonna roast it. We're not gonna use cabbage.
You know what? I've got a little bit of Napa left. I'll use that.
Yeah. So you want to use that with the kale?
Can I?
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh yeah, I forgot I have the kale.
You could even roast the Napa.
Okay.
With your other cabbage.
True. Maybe I'll just do that. Okay, I understand now. All right, this kale's got to be torn into smaller pieces.
Yeah.
All right.
So you can go ahead and start sauteing your vegetables because the kale is going to go in towards the end. You're going to saute the onion, pepper, and garlic for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then put the other vegetables in, saute them for 5 more minutes. Then add your salt and pepper and stock.
Woo-hoo.
And cook it for 15 minutes, maybe 20 if you need to.
Pretty exciting.
And then add your greens and cook for another 5 minutes. And along with your
oil.
You can put since your thyme is dried, put that in when you do add the salt and pepper.
When I add what?
when you add the salt and pepper, after you add all of your other chopped vegetables, you're going to add salt and pepper about, well, it depends on how much. That might be a little much.
I won't use it all. I'm just showing you.
It looks really beautiful. So yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
How much are you planning? I'm doing like 3 to 4 cups of stock.
Okay.
So that is probably going to need about a half a teaspoon to 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
And so you'll put salt and your pepper and your dried thyme in at that point.
I decided to cut up my green
stock.
I decided to cut up my green pepper too, because the red pepper looks kind of lonely in there.
Okay.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna do this because it's kind of soft.
Use it before you look in your refrigerator and it is too late.
Exactly. I'm just like, don't waste it. Come on.
And they didn't look very big, so
they're not. So this is good. This is fun, Julie. I love how I can just like I can do what I want. You know, it's like, okay, I want to put in more. Let's see what happens, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like the perfect creative thing, you know?
Well, and that's what cooking should be, to use your creativity. And it's funny, like I was saying, that I'm trying to use other people's recipes a little. I don't do that a lot, but maybe once a week I use someone else's recipe, and it's kind of funny because I'm so used to just cooking more intuitively that reading a recipe is almost stressful.
Yeah, it is. It is. I agree.
I'm like, oh, I didn't do that in the right order, like not putting the salt in.
You use the R word.
The R word. What did I say?
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You do it right.
There's no right or wrong in cooking. It's just however you do it, and as long as it turns out that you can eat it, then that's right.
All right. So now that's in there, and then did you say after 5 minutes I'm adding the potatoes and the cauliflower and the
turnip? Yeah, whatever other vegetables you've got.
Okay.
You're gonna add that.
And I don't have homemade vegetable stock right now, which is surprising to me. I have some chicken stock.
You can use chicken stock.
Okay, I'm gonna use that then.
I mean, if that works. I don't use chicken stock anymore. I used to like roast a chicken, and then I would make chicken stock from all the the bones and everything.
That's what I did.
But the last time I did that, and I tried to use the chicken stock in something, I was like, I can't eat this.
You just lost the appetite, huh?
I just couldn't eat it. So, my husband would love it if I did that. And when our kids were still living with us, I did that, and I would make it, and they would eat it. But now I can't do it. All right.
Mushroom broth. Should I add a mushroom broth?
You could use mushroom broth.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that would actually be really good. I was also going to say, if you want to add rice at the end, if you've got cooked rice, you could toss some of that in, or like open a can of beans and put those in. Yeah. It's up to you. I'm not putting any beans. I do have a little bit of leftover rice from last week. I'm just going to put that in at the end. So, all right, I'm going to chop my greens. And
I'm having fun throwing this in.
Yay!
Here comes my kale.
You're like, whew.
And now I just put the bone broth, the broth in.
Let it saute just a little bit, you know, until it kind of coats with the oil and starts to soften up just a bit, not a lot. And then you can put the broth in.
Did you want me to salt it, did you say?
Yeah, I would put the salt and pepper now and your thyme.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead. I guess I'm going to measure this.
Okay. Salt and pepper, here we come.
I don't always measure, but
I'm not measuring.
I've been over salting lately, so I guess I should measure.
When do you want the thyme to go in, Julie?
The thyme can go in when you're salting and peppering.
When I'm what?
When you put the salt and pepper in, put the thyme in.
Oh, right now.
Yeah, because you have when you have dried herbs, you want it to go in, and so it can cook in with everything. When you have fresh herbs, you want to put it in at the end.
Got it.
And even though yours were fresh, they're dry now.
I love the dried herbs going in. That's really fun.
Yeah. You can also, you know, when it's dry, you could also put them in with the stem. You just have to remember to remove the stem when it's cooked. Because when it cooks, it would cook off of the stem.
Well, this is fun. I've never done it this way before.
No?
No. Well, I've never cooked this before, so of course I haven't.
But when you make soup, do you usually just put the stock in and then throw the vegetables in?
Pretty much, but except for the carrots, celery, and onions, if I use that.
Yeah.
There's my squash.
Is that your delicata?
Yep.
Okay, so that should be tender, and hopefully it'll be a little bit browned.
Not yet. I'll let it go a little longer.
Yeah, another 5 minutes or so. I need to get my stock out of the refrigerator. Pour it in.
And I feel like this stuff on the kale's getting wilty and things are getting like oiled and stuff incorporated. So now I could add broth.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Did you already put the kale in?
Yep.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I had intended for you to put it in at the end, but that's okay.
Oh, it's in.
Okay. Kale is sturdy enough that it'll be okay. If it was spinach, then you would have it in there for too long.
I'm excited about this mushroom broth. I don't usually cook with it. I usually would. Somebody suggested it get added to a beef dish, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But here we go.
There. So I put
Is this going to be a stew, Julie?
It can. But if you want it soupier, you can put more liquid. But it is.
My breath smells weird.
Do you think it's too much or not enough? Not enough broth?
Maybe.
You want me to look at it?
What if I added some chicken broth now?
Yeah, add some chicken broth. A little bit more. There. That's good. So then it's going to come to a boil, and then you're going to turn it down and let it simmer for, like I said, about 15, maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then, then it'll be done because you already added the kale.
Yeah, I already did.
And if you want to add beans to it, that's when you can add beans, or just have it as it is. You decide what you want to do. If you want beans in it, I don't want beans. I just made this Three Sisters stew, which was 4 beans, and I don't want another bean
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so now I need to take my stems, my outer things of my cabbage, and put it in a bag in the freezer for my stock. Good. All my little shavings of stuff, you know.
So I can send you a recipe for a kale salad.
Okay.
And then, are you all set on how you're going to do the cabbage, roast the cabbage?
No.
Okay. So I can send you something on that too.
Cool. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah. And, you know, I made a recipe book for Thanksgiving, and I need to post it online. I just haven't done that yet. Would be good to do it before Thanksgiving.
How wonderful. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. And I sent it out to my email list, but.
Ooh. How would someone get on your email list, Julie?
It's a good question. Right. I don't have my sign up page. I have the sign up page made, but it doesn't have anywhere to go.
What if they just emailed you?
What?
And would they email you and say, please add me to your list?
Yes, yes, you could do that. That
Oh,
works. The old-fashioned way.
What email address?
The email address, a cooking revolution at gmail.com.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
A cooking revolution at Gmail. I'm getting your list, aren't I?
I'll put you on. I'll put you on. So
how's that possible? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I know a lot of people that if you just talk to them, they add you to their email list.
You're not supposed to do that.
And I don't like that. So
you have to ask permission, otherwise you're violating ban.
Or what we used to get a lot at the farmers market when back in the day when we were at the farmers market, someone would come and they'd get our business card, and the next thing I know, I'm on their email list.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know who you are, because I was at the farmers market, so I didn't know who they were.
Right. Awesome, Julie. Wow. Well,
yeah. So you know, to answer your question, Linda, how did people get on my email list? They signed up at the farmers market. Those are the people that are on my email list. Or their kids took cooking classes with me. They're on my email list. So.
My squash didn't get brown, but is it tender?
But is it cooked?
No. It's not done.
What did you set your oven on?
350.
Oh, okay. 400. I should have reminded you.
Was the pumpkin and the other squash cooking at the right temperature then, or does that need to go back in?
It should be fine. It should be fine. How do they seem like they're, use a knife and poke them and see if they're a little soft now.
Okay.
I mean, they're not going to be so soft that the knife is just going to go directly through it.
Yeah, they're a little soft.
So that's good. You should
not really
cut them easily.
No.
No?
No. I got to put it back in, I think.
Okay. Yeah, probably for maybe another 10 minutes.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, at 400, it would have taken about 15 minutes.
Well, that's my fault for not asking.
Yeah, and I didn't think to remind you, because I just automatically do 400. That's my.
You love 400. 400
go-to temperature.
Yep, that's your temperature.
If a recipe says cook it at 350, I'm like, nah, 400.
I love it, Julie. Yay!
All right. So I just have to wait for mine to come to a boil and cook, and then I'm going to add my greens. But we know that that's going to happen, and then throw my rice in at the end. And yeah, take a picture when you're done.
I will. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And my rice could be cooked or uncooked to be added.
It should be cooked.
Or my can of beans would be sufficient to add.
Right. Right.
And should I add black beans, garbanzos? pinto.
I've made this
Pinto.
with black beans before, and it's good. I don't think I would use pinto, but maybe that would be okay. Do you have like navy or
Don't.
garbanzo would probably be good too.
What would?
The garbanzo, you said you had garbanzo?
I'm gonna get garbanzo. That feels right to me.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay, guess what else I found? I was just thinking, oh, I wish I had some mushrooms to add. I got a can of mushrooms. What do you think about adding a can of sliced mushrooms to it? Would that be completely weird?
I wouldn't add the whole can.
Okay.
But you could certainly add some.
What do you think? Would that be weird?
But you've got mushroom broth, so.
I know, that's why I was thinking maybe some
Yeah,
mushrooms.
but I don't think I would add the whole can. But that's me personally. If you think that if you think it seems right, then do it.
When should I add these?
After everything's pretty much cooked.
Okay.
So.
And how about the mushrooms? If I add the mushrooms, when should they go in?
I would put those towards the end too. Maybe when you're putting the beans in.
I'm doing it.
All right.
I'm doing it, Julie.
Yeah.
You're rubbing off on me.
Yay!
I'm just playing now.
So, I'm seeing your butternut squash in a soup, actually.
Oh.
Or the red curry, either one of those.
Okay.
So.
Butternut squash or the red curry. I like the idea of the red curry in a soup. But I got to tell you, that stew I made that day was so good.
Yeah.
It was so hearty and it lasted, so.
Well, the good thing about soup is that you make it and you've used a lot of your vegetables and then it's in the refrigerator. And, when you need a quick meal, it's there.
There it is. That's what I love about it so much. It's just
this is the perfect, like, before holiday or after holiday meal. Actually, you make it before the holiday, and then you've got it for after the holiday. When you think, I really don't want to eat any of the food that we've got, what else can we have?
Right. Well, that makes me realize that I could use the squash for something for my holiday.
Yeah. Well, I was actually thinking that red curry. I know that one time we made stuffed delicata squash, but I was thinking that red curry would be a really nice, like stuffed dish. You could do it similar to what I'm going to do, or you can cut it in half. Typically, I cut them in half. Scoop the seeds out and stuff each half. But I think this one I'm going to cook whole and with stuffed.
That looks like so much fun.
Also, because this one, it doesn't really have a good flat edge.
Yeah.
Since it looks like a wheel of cheese. I know. This is a local. I mean, not local to here, but Long Island. It's a heirloom squash, and it's on the Slow Food Arc of Taste, which means it's like an endangered. It got put on there because it was endangered. They wanted people to use it so that it didn't disappear. So,
are you going to save your seeds?
I can save them. I could do that. I got this from one of the farmers here in San Diego. So
maybe you should bring your seeds back to him.
Yeah, I could. So I could do that. Anyway.
So here's my mushrooms. I cut up that much.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Did you want to show me how much you have? I mean, how much stock did you put in there?
Sure. I ended up putting in 2 quarts. One.
Okay. Yeah, you usually put in more because you usually use more vegetables than I do.
Yeah, I just kind of.
Yeah, you've got more vegetables. So if you want a little bit more stock, although I think everything's going to cook down.
I think so too.
It looks kind of thick right now is because you put the kale in there already.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the kale in there, it wouldn't look that thick. But that kale is going to cook down a lot.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. You know, sometimes it's nice not to have that be so kind of like green. Oh, no. Okay. Now there's my, up to temperature for my squashes.
Yeah.
And you think how much longer now that they've been in there at that temperature, you know, brought up to that temperature?
I would do another 5,
Okay.
another 5 minutes.
I have 10 on the clock, so I'll reduce that a little bit. I'm excited, Julie. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been a lot of fun. And just keep the delicata in there until it's soft and starting to brown.
Okay.
It may take a little bit longer since you had it at a lower temp.
Yeah.
But it's still going to get to that point. And then just hang on to that until you're ready. Well, you can eat it as a side dish, you know.
Yeah.
Put it in a kale salad.
And I didn't peel it.
Right. You don't want to peel them.
And my squashes, my pie pumpkin and my red curry squash, I'm going to take them out and just let them cool and then cut them, scoop out the seeds and take out the flesh, or what are we thinking with that?
What I would do with the pumpkin, the pie pumpkin, is once it's cut in half, take the seeds out, put it back in, and roast it until it's really soft. And then you can scoop it out and just puree it.
Oh.
Use it for, like, if you want pumpkin pie or, you know, muffins or whatever, pancakes.
Oh.
So instead of a can, the pumpkin from the pie,
I see. Okay. This is a new world for me. I don't cook with these things all that often, but they came in my CSA box. 2 weeks ago was my last one. And and so I'm really excited to be cooking with you and to be using them. And of course I'm gonna go to the farmer's market. There's winter's market here, so it's not like I can't go pick things up. It's just, it's been so great to get it directly from my farmer, have it there, use what's in the box, and that's been profound. And cooking with you has been like just extraordinary.
Yeah, it makes it special when you know that you have a personal relationship with the farmer. So it makes it really special. So I wanted to say on the red curry, what I would recommend is just cut it in half, scoop out the seeds, and you can save it.
Okay.
Until you're ready until you know what you want to do with it.
Okay.
You could peel it and cube everything, or if you want to use it stuffed.
Yeah.
That.
Okay.
If you want it as the soup, then you could cut it into cubes and.
Wow. Now, one other final detail: this soup is not boiling yet.
You don't have to make that decision now.
No, that's a nice thing.
So, you know, in fact, with the pumpkin, if you don't want to finish cooking it now, stick it in the refrigerator.
I know. I'm kind of like, I might just stick it in there anyway and do it later. So here's what I want to know. My soup that's there, that broth has not yet come to simmer. But once it's simmered, then I'm going to cook it for 15 minutes or so.
Yes. Yes.
And then I'll probably add the mushrooms and the beans. Yeah.
Yes, at that time. Okay. When everything's pretty tender, you know, you're going to cook it for another few minutes after you add the beans and the mushrooms. So everything doesn't have to be perfectly tender at that, you know, when you add them, but you want it pretty close to ready to go. Good to know. Thank you for that, because otherwise the beans would break down a lot. And okay, good. Julie, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with me today. And thank you for cooking with me, as always. I enjoy it so much. I think it's really good because it lets your viewers know what it's like, and they won't interrupt and like be as exuberant as I am probably, or maybe they will because it's really fun. But what I have loved so much about, I want you to ask questions. I don't want you to just, you know, think, oh, I have to understand what she's talking about. Yeah. So. Because like you and I were saying earlier, if we're following a recipe, it's actually kind of stressful. So if we start to get that sense of how to work with this, and it gives us a lot more freedom and the sense, the confidence, you know, and the creative confidence, right? Yeah. We're learning the fundamentals. The fundamentals, that's right, of cooking, because it is fun. I enjoy getting in
Yes.
here and just kind of throwing things together.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
experienced that today. Thank you so much for the
you're
freedom.
welcome. So anyway, have a great rest of your day, and
Thank you.
I don't talk to you before Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy your day. I was
Thank you
going to
so
ask
much.
if you had any Thanksgiving, like fun Thanksgiving food memories, but if you have time, you could.
Well, yeah, Thanksgiving growing up was always a huge family thing. Like my mom and dad both had 7 brothers and sisters. They didn't all come at the same time, but each of these, kids had kids, so there was at least 2 of them for each, pretty much. And so it was large gatherings with large turkey, and like very big, pull out all the leaves on the table kind of gathering, and kids go in the other room if there's an overflow. But yeah, I always loved the turkey, and the gravy and the potatoes. Not the yams so much. My mom would get put all that brown sugar and cranberries like were slipped out of this can. It's like today I'm like, why would you do that? But that's what we had, and it's like
Right, yeah.
corn, green beans. I loved the biscuits we would get from the Century store. They were butter like biscuits, but that was it was pretty simple, and then the pie was usually I guess it was pumpkin. I don't remember having apple. It was
We
pumpkin.
never had pumpkin pie. We had
Yeah.
pie.
Yeah, you grew up where pecans were abundant, so why would you do that, right? Why would you do anything else?
Most people had pecan trees, so you never had to buy pecans. You knew somebody
Yum.
with a pecan tree, so they gave
Yeah,
you back pecans. Maybe you had to shell it
exactly.
yourself, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember the first time I went to buy pecans, I was like, wow, they're expensive.
I know. Yeah, and you just go out and pick them up off the ground?
Yeah. So the first year, my brother has, I don't know, a whole bunch of pecan trees, and he had so many. He sent me a bag of pecans. It probably
Wow.
cost more to mail them than to go buy them at the store, but
Oh, that's special though. Super special.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna check this out. Looks like this is finally cooking, the delicata.
Oh, good. And your
I
squash,
want to just get these pumpkins out of here.
yeah,
Where are my pumpkins?
I would think that they're soft enough.
I think so too. I'm just gonna set that one there. And
I mean, they're not going to be, you're not going to be able to stick your knife into it, but you should be able to cut through it fairly easily.
they smell really good.
Yeah.
Like smelling it. So I think we're there.
I mean, you can cook them whole for like an hour, and then they'll be really soft.
Yeah, no, I like what we've done. I feel good about it. It gives us some flexibility to
Yeah, this
go.
way you can decide what you want to do with it.
Exactly.
It's not just going to be pureed pulp.
Yeah.
So anyway, all
Thank
right.
you, Julie. I cooked some squash and some pumpkin.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to travel so badly, and I'm like, I want to go to Minnesota. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in Minnesota right now.
Oh, well, we'll have to talk about that next time.
Foods and cooking, and some really innovative chefs and your farmers, or you've got some amazing innovative farmers too. So kind of on the cusp of the new order of agriculture.
Well, maybe next season you'll have to come, and I'm looking at having a retreat at a very special place in northern Minnesota, and maybe you'll want to cook for that to be the chef,
Or
or participate and be served.
The people to how they can creatively, intuitively cook.
Exactly. So let's talk more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And everyone, get out there and let's start that cooking revolution, or continue. It's already started. Let's continue a cooking revolution.
That's right.
Bye, Linda. Happy
Bye for now. Mwah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.